Welcome to A Course of Love book group written by Perron, first receiver. Um, I'm going to get going, reading first. We're on page 213, chapter 3. Before I start reading, may all beings be included in what we do here. Chapter 3, The Call to the Miracle. The first opportunities for the art of thought to be applied relate to memory in terms of your experience here. In other words, they will relate to the re-experiencing of all that you believe has shaped your life. These opportunities are but the forerunners of new learning. They are but opportunities to replace illusion with the truth, so that the truth of who you are is all that remains. Seeing how different from the experience of illusion is the experience of truth. Welcome, Ian.
Good evening. I
Yeah,
don't think I don't think I can read tonight.
it's okay. I'm happy if you're present here.
Okay. What
We're
which part?
I'm on page 213, chapter 3, The Call to the Miracle.
Is that treatise number one?
Yeah, the first treatise, a treatise on the art of thought, and then chapter 3,
Okay.
page 213. Make yourself comfortable. Would you like me to start reading over again? I'm
Yeah.
only about one paragraph in, so it's no worries. Okay, I'll start over again so you can catch it from the beginning. Chapter 3, The Call to the Miracle. The first opportunities for the art of thought to be applied relate to memory in terms of your experience here. In other words, they will relate to the re-experiencing of all that you believe has shaped your life. These opportunities are but the forerunners of new learning. They are but opportunities to replace illusion with the truth, so that the truth of who you are is all that remains. Seeing how different from the experience of illusion is the experience of truth is the same as seeing how different the art of thought is from the thinking of the ego mind. The art of thought is diametrically opposed to the thinking of the ego mind. The ego mind sees nothing for what it is. The ego mind sees not anything but what it wants as gifts, and even these it sees not as gifts but as rewards. The ego mind barters rather than giving and receiving as one, believing in a return only forever, because it sees only rewards and not gifts. It cannot see that gifts are shared. Because it cannot see that gifts are shared, it cannot afford to see relationship. Because it believes it is on its own, it cannot see the higher order. Because of all of this, it cannot experience the truth, and so exists in illusion. The experience of truth dispels illusion, and thus the ego mind, the art of thought, replaces the ego mind with the wholehearted. The wholehearted is what the heart and mind joined in unity. How can what is closely guarded extend? How can what is controlled create? How can what continues to give in to fear know love? All your reasons for fear-based living have been discounted one by one, and yet you dare not try to live without it. Why? Because of the thoughts of the ego mind. The ego mind is concerned only with its own survival, but it has you convinced it is your survival that depends on it. How can you be convinced to live if the truth were otherwise? Sorry, how can you be convinced to live as if the truth were otherwise? For only if you begin to live as if the truth were otherwise, can you see that it truly is otherwise, or based on a wisdom other than what has come before. The only way for you to come to live in truth is through faith, not a faith in what might be, but a faith in what is. A faith in what is a faith in miracles. Miracles are what you are now asked to call upon. For calling upon miracles is an act of faith. You think the quest for miracles is a quest for proof that demonstrates a lack of faith, but the reverse is true. What kind of miracle would lead to a lack of faith? There is no such kind of miracle. I ask you now to request a miracle. What kind of miracle should you ask for? How big of a miracle should you request? How big is your faith? How much proof does it require? I speak not in jest, but ask you to seriously consider what kind of miracle is needed to get you to change your mind about who you are and thus about the nature of your thoughts. Observe yourself as you think through this question. Can you remove all fear from it? Why should it be that fear is what you encounter? The bigger the miracle that occurs to you, the more you are likely to fear the consequences. These are not consequences for the world you view, but consequences for yourself. If you requested a miracle and it came true, what then? If you request a small miracle and it comes true, how awful you would feel that you had not requested a bigger miracle. You will almost feel panic at the thought of such a choice being put before you. If you will agree to choose a miracle at all, which many of you will balk at doing, you want to choose the right miracle. Some of you may think through just what kind of miracle would be most convincing to you, since you see this exercise as what it is. An attempt to convince you to think otherwise about yourself. If you ask for a cure for a disease, how will you know that this cure is a miracle and not the result of scientific discovery or the natural course an illness was bound to take? What miracle could be seen as only miracle and not leave doubt as to its circumstances? Would you choose a miracle that would leave no room for doubt? Such a simple miracle might be the turning of water into wine. What harm could come from it? And yet, even this you would fear, for if you asked for such a miracle and it came to be, you would then have to contemplate your power to perform miracles. Here you find your greatest fear of all, fear of your power. As was said within A Course of Love, willingness does not require conviction, but leads to conviction. The apostles had no faith in their ability to perform miracles. The faith they showed was in their willingness to try. This little willingness gave way to conviction as miracles flowed through them as the blessings that they are. I do not want to lose any of you here, but such is your fear that you can already see your own loss. As great as the fear of miracles is, the fear of not being able to perform is greater. You think of this as a test, and one you can pass or fail. Then what's more, not only would your passing of this test require you to contemplate your power, but your failure would require you to contemplate your lack of it. If you asked for a miracle and it did not come to be, wouldn't it negate all you have achieved thus far and send you back to a state of disbelief? Better not to try at all than to risk trying and failing when such consequences would seem to hang in the balance. But again, I tell you this is no idle request. Whatever is necessary to convince you now is what I will provide. Such is the urgency of the time, the urgency for the return to unity, the urgency of the need to leave fear behind. Can you not, from this one example of your fear of miracles, see the glaring reality of all you still would fear? This too is a means of unlearning. How can you leave behind all you fear without seeing all you fear for what it is and choosing to lay it aside? This does not have to be done right now. If your fear is mightier than your willingness. But hold this thought within your mind. What is needed to convince you will be provided. Such is the urgency of your return to unity. If not that now, then soon. It will be asked to make this final choice, this choice to leave fear behind for good and to become who you are. Who you are is a miracle worker. This is not all that you are, but is a measure of who you are. This is not all that you are, but this is the quickest means of realizing who you are. As was said in A Course in Miracles, miracles are time-saving devices. Although asking you to choose a miracle would seem to violate one of the rules of miracle readiness, as described in A Course in Miracles, the extreme need of your return to love requires extreme measures. Let us consider your objections to miracles one by one, for in doing so, for in so doing, we will uncover the source of all your fears as well as the source of miracles. First, you will say you have no objections to miracles, only to having them performed through you. Your lack of willingness to perform miracles, you will say, stems from your unworthiness to perform miracles. Your unworthiness stems from your belief that you are only human. You are not God. You are not a holy person. Thus, miracles should not flow through you. Second, you would object to being asked to choose a miracle. Surely you cannot know the consequences of what any miracle would have on the rest of the world. If you were to ask for a life to be spared, how would you know it was not that person's time to die? If you were to ask for the cure of a disease, how would you know that disease was not meant to be to further someone's learning? If you were to ask to win the lottery, how could such selfishness not be punished? Third, you might add the suggestion that you need proof to shore up your faith, balk, even while you remain convinced that a failure of such proof would shake your faith. Fourth, you might balk at the suggestion that God would grant miracles on such a whim, such a fanciful idea as that of your being convinced of your own power. How could this possibly be important? Even were you to possess such power, surely it is a power that is of God and needs not you for its accomplishment. Better not to mess with such things. Even the thought of it leads you to ideas of magic and power that are not of this world, and thus that must have a dark side as well as a light. Here suspicion dawns and threatens all you have come to hold dear. These thoughts border on the sacrilegious. Miracles are the realm of Jesus and of the saints, and that is surely where they belong. To even implore them would be heresy. You fear as well that you do not know what miracles are and thus cannot perform them. You want a definition first. What is an appropriate miracle? For whom should they be requested? What are the criteria? How are they done? Do they happen all at once? Or can they be for some future date? What about the correction of something that has already occurred? You have far too many questions without answers to choose a miracle. Although many more fears might prevail upon you, we will consider only one further fear, the fear of making the wrong choice in your choice of miracles. This is the same as a fear of scarcity, for surely the working of one miracle would be a fluke anyway, proof of nothing, and easily discounted and explained away. Surely, to believe that where one miracle worked, another might be possible would be to have ideas of grandeur not meant for you. Here your thoughts might stray to the performing of many miracles. What a media circus that would be. It would be in demand to end so much suffering in so many places. Surely you wouldn't want that, even if it could come to be. Indeed, this would require the auspices of a saintly soul, and not one such as you. See you not the choices made in each of these scenarios, and the reasoning or lack of reasoning behind them? You are not worthy. You are not saintly, godlike, or even holy. You might choose incorrectly. You might invoke retribution. You might be selfish. You might be proved to have no faith. You might succumb to thoughts of grandeur. In short, you are too afraid for a variety of reasons to try. In short, you are not willing and have many reasons for not being willing. What we have done here is bring your fears to light, fears that you did not even realize you held so closely, or would be so terrified to let go. Now we can address each of these fears, bringing to them the art of thought rather than the thinking of the ego mind. Shall we continue? What do you think, Dan? In chapter 4? I think we'll continue on. That's how it feels. Chapter 4, the center of the universe. It's page 218. By asking you to request a miracle, I am honoring who you are and inviting you into the state of mind that is miracle readiness. The art of thought is the expression of that state. The art of thought is the miracle. Thus we must dispel, along with the illusion of fear, the illusion of specificity. You have not been asked to request a specific miracle. Although your thoughts have naturally gone to consideration of the specific, this is but an indication that you are still in the habit of thinking you learned under the instruction of the ego mind. This treatise must change that habit in order for all your thoughts to become the miracles that express the truth of who you are. This treatise will put your instruction fully under my guidance and allow you to disregard the instruction of the ego mind. A course of love began with an injunction to pray. A course in miracles began with the definition of miracles. Both are the same. Prayer and the art of thought are the same. This should serve to make it clear that the request I have made of you is once again far more broad and generalizable than your old habit of thought has led you to see. Miracles are, in other words, a way of thinking, the new way that we are going to learn together. They are the state of giving and receiving as one. They are the state in which blessings flow. They are your natural state. How can the rules of thought we have identified serve to bring about the miracle that you are? First means identified was that of experiencing what is and acknowledging what is both as a fact of your existence as a human being and as a gift of the Creator. Now that we have more properly identified the miracle, you must see that yourself is what is in need of identification and acknowledgement. This identification and acknowledgement was the stated goal of a course of love. It does not negate your existence as a human being, nor does it deny your existence as being a gift of the Creator. Recall the sunset. Are you any less the glory of God than the sun? This is a call to be as aware of yourself as you are capable of being aware of the sunset. When the sun has remained but an object to you, no effect is possible from the sunset. The sun, even during the most blazing sunset, has at times remained no more than an object to you. So too has yourself. When yourself is seen as no more than a body, it is seen as little more than an object. The second rule of the art of thought is to acknowledge relationship, the call for a response, and the nature of all gifts as being given to all. This is thus a call to realize that you exist in relationship, that your relationship calls for response, that you're given to all as all are given to you. This is an enormous shift in your habit of thought as you become the center of the universe. This is quite a different you than the self of the ego mind. The ego mind, in its imitation of creation, puts the you of the ego or the body at the center of its thought system, and from this central position developed all of its ideas of glorifying the separated self, as well as subjugating the separated self. This subjugation to the ego mind is what led to the ego mind being able to develop the laws of man. These laws of man are the laws of the body's survival. Your responsibilities shift completely under the laws of God. Your thoughts are released from their concentration on what exists outside of you, as your responsibility is placed where it belongs, in the call to respond. This response is only yours to give, and is all you are asked to give. This response comes from within the self, the rightly identified and acknowledged self, capitals S. Think of all you now feel responsible for, and this lesson will become more clear. While your first thoughts will automatically go to a lengthy list of those concerns associated with survival of the body, they will miss a whole aspect of concerns associated with keeping others other. You keep others other by attempting to respond for them rather than responding to them. You thus have thought it is your responsibility to care for the world outside of yourself rather than for yourself. There is much play on the words response, responsible, and responsibility here. This is no accident. Your call is to respond, and you have seen this call incorrectly as a call to be responsible. The idea of responsibility sprang from the ego mind that would usurp the power of God. What kind of gift arrives with the demand for the receiver to be responsible for it? You may answer that there are many, even within this course's definition of gift, the most obvious of which might be our children. another of which might be your talents. It is the idea of your responsibility for these gifts that has led to your oppression. Again, I tell you, your call is to respond rather than to be responsible. How can you be free to respond when your thinking remains tied to responsibility? Responsibility, but implies a guardianship that is not needed. Responsibility implies needs that would not be met without you. Response is given and thus genuine. It is a natural act of giving and receiving as one. Responsibility is a demanded response, a necessary response, an obligation. Response happens from within. Responsibility is all about dealing with an outside world. While both may result in the same or similar actions, this does not negate the need for the difference to be realized. Charity is a responsibility. Love is a response. See you not the difference? Can a father not be guided by responsibility and still fail to give love? Can a dancer not struggle mightily to perfect her talent without experiencing its joy? Do you think the Creator is responsible for what He created? To think of the Creator in this way is to think of the Creator with the upside down thinking of the ego mind. Is this not the kind of thinking that has caused you to blame God for what you have labeled bad, as well as praise God for what you have labeled good? Would not this kind of creator be at odds with the concept of free will? But for a creator not to respond to what has been created, this would indeed be a travesty. This would be antithetical to the laws of creation. This would be antithetical to love. My request to you to choose a miracle is but a request to you to hear creation's response to who you are. What might such a response sound like, feel like, look like? It is a response of pure appreciation and love. It is always available. It is the gift given in everything you look upon and see without the obstacle of the ego mind's interpretation. Let us speak a moment of this interpretation, that each of you interprets what you see, read, hear, smell, and touch differently must mean something. What you have decided that this means is that you are an independent thinker, something you have prized. Some of you will accept another's interpretation of me if it is helpful to you, saves you time, or seems in accord with your own views. Others of you feel it necessary to interpret everything on your own without further discussion. You would see interpretation and response quite similarly, and this would but lead to a continuation of the belief in different forms of truth. The art of thought is being taught here in order to prevent just such a conclusion. The truth is the truth and not dependent upon your definition of it. A response is not an interpretation. A response is an expression of who you are rather than of what you believe something else to be. You who have thought that your interpretation of events and feelings has given them their meaning, think again. Their meaning exists already and is not up to you to determine. This is not your responsibility. You who have thought that your interpretation of situations and the feelings they have aroused have defined who you are, think again. Be willing to apply the art of thought rather than the thinking of the ego mind. Interpretation but gives you opinions about those things that you experience. Response reveals the truth to you because it reveals the truth of you. The joy you have felt has come to you from an interpretation that is uniquely your own, is as nothing compared to the joy that will come to you from a response that is uniquely you. But you must give up your penchant for interpretation before you can learn to respond. I realize that this will concern you while you continue to not realize the difference between response and interpretation. The only way for this concern to have the chance to leave you is for you to begin to practice the art of thought and thus begin to learn the difference. As was already stated, the first opportunities for you to learn the art of thought will be provided through what we have called the re-experiencing of memory. These are opportunities to re-experience the lessons your life has brought you. You will experience the same lessons in the same way, rather than in a new way, if you meet these experiences again with the attitude of interpreting rather than responding to them. They do not require interpretation, but response. Response was what was required in the first place, and your inability to respond need not be repeated. You are being revisited with these lessons expressly for the purpose of not repeating your former reaction or interpretation of them. You are being revisited with these lessons so that you may apply to them the art of thought rather than the thinking of the ego mind. The art of thought will reveal the truth to you. The thinking of the ego would simply reinterpret the meaning you previously gave to these lessons. This is a sticky distinction, for you are used to congratulating yourself on the maturity required to reinterpret previous lessons. To form a new opinion about something gives you a feeling of open-mindedness and growth. Lay aside your desire for reasons, for self-congratulation in favor of self-revelation. The saying, "the truth shall be revealed to you," is the same as saying, "yourself shall be revealed to you." Revelation is a proper description of the mode by which the art of thought teaches and helps you learn. It is not through study, effort, or reinterpretation, but through revelation. Revelation is direct communication with God, in the sense that it is direct communication from a self you have known not, the self that is one with the Creator. We must backtrack a little here to do the same exposition that we did in regard to miracles, in regard to revelation. By asking you to choose a miracle, you provided a means through which your fears became clear to you. There are a few of you who would deny these fears. Fewer still are unafraid of miracles and eager to embrace them. As you may have surmised, we are getting at your final fears here. Those most deeply buried and kept in secret from you. Some of you would count yourself least fearful are those of you whose fears are most deeply buried. So whether you count yourself among the fearful or not, please continue to give me your attention just a little while longer. as we uncover all that would still hold you back. As was said within the course of love, all fear is doubt about yourself. Now we must expand upon this thought, for doubt about yourself is doubt about God. While God is nothing but the source of love, you have, in your doubt, made of God the source of fear. Pause a moment here and let the enormity of this confusion sink in. For this is a reversal in thinking that will pave the way for all the rest. Because of this confusion, you have responded to creation with fear. Is it any wonder a new response is asked of you? In the translations of the Bible and many other religious texts, the word or idea of awe has been confused with the word or idea of fear. Course in Miracles told you that awe is a providence of God and not to do miracles. Or any other thing or being. I bring up this point to assure you that this confusion is nothing new, but a confusion so deeply ingrained in you that it has become an aspect of yourself as human being. From time immemorial, fear has been associated with God. This was the thinking I came to reverse. While I succeeded in revealing a God of love, this revelation has not been reconciled with your experience here. This is what we will now seek to do by putting an end to fear and ushering in, with this ending, the beginning of a time of miracles. How are you feeling, Ian?
Yeah, I think that's a lot for tonight.
Yeah, I think so. We're going to stop here. Is that okay with you?
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. What's resonating with you right now? Where you, in a feeling? What's the feeling that's resonating?
It seems to me like a miracle is just an act of gratitude to see to perceive reality as it truly is. as opposed to perceiving it through the filter of the ego. That's what I got out of it. Oh, like in the Course in Miracles, it talks about the principle of atonement or at one ment. Um, and he defined the atonement as, I guess, as the interlocking chain of forgiveness to heal the separation, to heal whatever separation occurred. So it's a bit different here than what it is in A Course in Miracles, maybe, or maybe it's the same thing. I guess when we perceive the truly real, then we'd be grateful for what it is. But we currently don't because we see perceive separation. But then he made a specific offer and I think 3 point something.
In the last chapter,
Yeah,
chapter 3, where was it? Do you know?
can't remember. It was something about the time we're living in is urgent, so he's going to make an urgent effort
Yeah.
to create a miracle or present a miracle or something. I can't remember.
Um, Hold on, I remember. He said in 3.15, as was said in A Course in Miracles, miracles are time-saving devices. Although asking you to choose a miracle would seem to violate one of the rules of miracle readiness, as described in A Course in Miracles, the extreme need of your return to love requires extreme measures. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. He also mentions that in the previous paragraph, 3.14.
Mhm.
He said, what is needed to convince you will be provided, such as the urgency of your return to
Yeah,
unity.
yeah,
So that's a direct, like it's like a promise. He's promising something, but I'm not sure what it is because then the next chapter, he then goes into a really general description, even vague, or even open to interpretation of what a miracle is.
yeah. He asks you to choose a miracle. And when he says what is needed to convince you will be provided, you know, one thing, this what resonates with me reading this tonight is in A Course in Miracles, he tells us that we're either in fear or in love. So, and then in you know, what really resonated with me for tonight's reading, it's at 4.26, kind of sums it up. All fear is doubt about yourself. Now we must expand upon this thought, for doubt about yourself is doubt about God. For God is nothing but the source of love you have in your doubt, made of God the source of fear. Pause a moment here and let the enormity of this confusion sink in. For this is the reversal in thinking that will pave the way for all the rest. Because of this confusion, you have responded to creation with fear. Is it any wonder a new response is asked of you? So, he was speaking about how in the scriptures there's, especially in the Old Testament, there's a lot about fear of God and the confusing of fear of God with awe, AWE, awe of God, that awe is a fear. But I think
Yeah,
what he's,
there's a lot of fear, no doubt. There's the belief in you can be punished for your sins,
yeah,
which I think is one of the things the Course in Miracles was trying to reverse, actually, that
yeah,
belief.
yeah, because yeah. And
So
he's,
that's where a lot of the fear comes from, actually. It's the fear of punishment too.
and also like he was saying, a fear of our own power, you know. What would you do with your power? Like, so if I tell you the truth that you are God and you are freed of your power, like if you're God, then you are the one who is all powerful, which is true. And God is in you. So, and this is what where he's heading towards, in this chapter. I love these two chapters. So
Yeah, he
this
talks
is,
about he talks about revelation in that chapter too.
yeah,
That's a key idea right there.
yeah,
Actually, a revelation is like a miracle in a way. In
yeah,
many ways, it is like a miracle, basically a miracle.
yeah. The difference between a revelation,
It's one form of a miracle, I would think.
yeah,
Actually, this say revelation is a proper description of the mode by which the
art of
art of
God.
thought teaches you or something.
Yeah, and
So,
helps you
and
learn.
then he equates the miracle with as an example of an art of thought, I think.
Yeah. But these are beautiful chapters, and it's not really, for debate or discussion too much, but to just allow it to sink in is just feel it. Let's just do that for a moment. Let's just feel these truths that he so lovingly laid out for us. Because when we drop from our head and from kind of overthinking all of it, and we drop into our feelings, that is where the Christ heart is born. So we have to return to our virgin feelings first. So
Well, I know, but he did say a miracle. He still keeps using the term think and thinking. I think it's I think we read that tonight too. He said like miracles or a new way of thinking. He could have said feeling, but he said thinking. I mean, I do think it has to do a lot with feeling, especially when he talks about excuse me, the lessons that reappear as memories. those are mostly like your emotional reactions to certain events that happened in the past that pop up again. So you can so you can witness it and not respond the same way. So those are more like usually emotional reactions. But he insists on using the term think. So I'm not sure why he does that.
Well, thought plus feeling is a how to create. So, I mean, if we look around the world that's created right now, there's plenty of evidence for misthought and misfeeling and miscreation. But I think where he's trying to steer us is to the proper thought and feeling, to creation, um, to create as our Creator created us. I think he said that in the beginning of chapter 3, something to that effect of creating as the Creator created us. Do you remember that part? Just
Yeah, I think so.
try to find it. I have to find it. Do you see it where it is, Jan? I didn't highlight it. I should have.
Maybe it's in chapter 4 because towards the conclusion of chapter 4, he just talked about becoming the creator or creating as the creator created it, I think. Yeah, but it's
Oh,
interesting. The first,
it's at the bottom of 212. Is it actually? I thought we read it tonight because I was rereading parts of this chapter before the call started. So I still had this in kind of in the back of my mind. It's at the very end of page 212. To acknowledge the relationship and the nature of the gift is to realize unity. To realize the call for a response is to hear the call to create like unto the Creator. This creating like unto the Creator may be used as a definition for the art of thought. So I think this is why
yeah,
the
yeah.
thinking
Thanks for
is is brought in because I think you know this. Well, we'll get more into that as the book goes on. But thought, but its
yeah.
feeling
Actually,
is the
I, appre
creation. Yeah,
I appreciate you pointing that out because he just gave a definition of what the art of thought is. He said it's
yeah,
creating like the creator created.
right.
But then the first statement in the next chapter says the first opportunities for the art of thought to be applied relate to memory in terms of your experience here. So he's going back to the memory thing. It's almost like he's asking us to change the memory when it comes up, like to recreate the memory
Yeah,
based on how the our true self would perceive the event and respond to the event, as opposed to how the separated self or ego self reacted to the event, which it
right.
actually which it actually created in the first place.
Yeah, so our true self will come in, who is one with God, one with the Creator. and create as the creator and the remembering of it in a way. What do you think?
Yeah, basically that's what I
Yeah,
think that
that's what
means.
it feels like to me anyway. Well, Ian, it has been so nice to join with you again. And so I think we'll continue with the choice for love next time. So that will be chapter 5. We'll continue on this beautiful journey. So until next time, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you for joining. Thank you for all the ones who listen after the calls are recorded too. There are a lot of you, and thank you all. Blessings. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.